Hey, welcome to today's video where we're going to take a look at this 99 to 02 GM instrument cluster. And yes, we've been doing quite a few of these lately on the channel. Not really sure why. It had been a while since I was getting any in. But yeah, so I got one in. It's a big mess in here, so clearly I wasn't planning on doing a video, which is true. I was not planning on doing a video, so it didn't really clean up. But yeah, this one came in. I've already actually opened it and seen the inside of this thing, and I thought, you know what, let's stop here and do a video, because I think you guys will find it interesting. Mostly what this will apply to for learning here is what prior repair attempts kind of look like when you get them in and kind of how you deal with them. So the story behind this one is the screen was dim. They got their local mechanic to work on it, and then the screen was dead. So that's kind of the story I have on it. And yes, somebody who really didn't know what they were doing on circuit boards was in here. But let's jump over to the bench and actually take a look at this thing. Okay, so here's our 99 to 02 instrument cluster. Let's go ahead and just power it up and see what it does. Okay, so we have the message center working. The gauges all appear to be working, but no odometer. So it should be a pretty standard repair here where we are working on that display. And remember, when you're doing these, you don't ever have to take this plastic cover off unless you are going to take a air core motor off of there. But to work on the circuit board, I'm just going to pop the back off. Missing a light, and oh my gosh, somebody has tried to fix this already themselves. So we are dealing with a mess here. I don't think they've miswired it and damaged anything in the microcontroller side of this, because the display was working and it's a shared SPI bus. So yeah, we probably still just have a problem up on the board here. So let's desolder this and take a look at the board. Okay, well, here's our problem. They, yeah, lifted some traces on this guy. I mean, obviously that was all messed up too. We're already gonna have a lot of jumpers here. I mean, come on, we're missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 traces, and then these ones are just held on by just a little bit. So, yeah, I think, I don't know. It's only one up here. It's one in a cut trace. So we got like 2 damage traces. So let's take a better look at it real quick. So this trace right here is definitely lifted. It's not connected anymore. And then that one's cut right there. So we only have 2 damaged ones. I guess we'll fix it. Getting a better look at it under the eye loop, it's really only the one pad that's cut. That trace is fine. All right, giving this one a good inspection, it looks like we got some cracked solder joints here, like all across here. So this may have been giving them problems and why they were taking it on and off, or I really don't know how they damaged the pads so bad. And what you keep seeing me do is there's conformal coating on this board, so I'm just kind of scraping off the conformal coating so that way I can actually solder it. Yeah, see that pad's completely lifted off the board. That's how badly damaged that is. I mean, that is... Somebody must have been pushing down on the board. Now that pad's actually not connected to anything, um, but some of these are. Yeah, see, if we look at this, all of these are broken free from the substrate. So yeah, looking at these, all of these are broken free from the substrate. At least this one and this one, which they don't go to anything, so I think I'll just leave I'll leave this other one alone. But this one, these two, the solder joints are definitely cracked. So let's go ahead and fix them. They'll probably come off just because they're broken free from the substrate. But yeah, this one, he doesn't go anywhere. So let's just leave him alone and just get these ones. Somebody definitely was like really pushing down on this to have done that. Okay, now this is a pretty long run, so let's just give it a little bit of solder mask. So yeah, what I'm doing here is just using some UV cure solder mask. It's an epoxy to kind of hold this stuff down. So I'm actually going to put some on this whole row. I normally don't do stuff like this, but it's somebody really pushed down on the board and broke all of those pads free from the substrate. The pads themselves are making good electrical contact, but they're just broken free, and these two pins over here aren't even used for anything. So yeah, I mean, normally you'd use like gray bond epoxy here, but the solder mask works good for it too. You're just trying to bond these all so that way they don't actually crack again from vibration. Uh, they should be good to go like this, but definitely kind of a hokey repair, having to epoxy these pins. So it's just all of those, and it looks a lot like somebody like pushed in this corner on it. I've never seen that kind of damage before to the board. So yeah, just using like a little UV flashlight that's the right wavelength um, for the solder mask. All right, so not the most pretty repairs on here. We kind of got a big glob of epoxy there and some there just to hold this wire down to make sure he doesn't break free in the future. This should hold though. This I wouldn't expect to have any problems from this in the future. We can tell how this goes on there because it's burnt from the resistors. That's how they all are. They all discolor and kind of burn like that. And all of them will be missing that tab. Doesn't matter if somebody worked on it or not. It's pretty much always missing that tab. All right. Not seeing any damaged components down there, so let's go ahead and get this back together. Okay, so let's just start with reconnecting what still existed on there and go from there. Okay, so I'm not convinced that this one is making good contact, so we'll run a jumper for that. Okay, so I noticed a little bit of that was out of frame, so let's start again here. Let's take a closer look. What we are dealing with here is pretty much every one of these is missing. We have 2 of them, 3 of them making good connection. This one, it's not making connection. It's there. This second to the bottom one is not actually making good connection. It's there, but the trace is not actually attached to the pad. So we're gonna run jumpers for these. Let's start with the longer runs here. I went ahead and pre-trimmed some to save a little bit of time. Okay, so now all of them have jumpers, and yes, and yeah, these are enameled copper, so you don't actually have to worry about them shorting kind of short term, but you still want to make sure they're not going to chafe against something and short out. So we're going to put some more of the solder mask on there here in a little bit, but first we need to just test it and make sure it's working. There's a lot of jumpers. Normally I wouldn't do this many jumpers, but I did quote this customer it and said that I could fix it. So yeah, here we are. So yeah, move that one so that way they're not over each other. But yeah, there we go. That should work. We'll just need to test it and then we can continue on. And this one had 2 jumpers because it has a trace that runs over this way. So, and sure enough, we have both screens working, so we didn't mess up the connection here because you know it shares that same SPI line in between these. So yeah, definitely everything's working. Screen's nice and bright, actually brighter than most of them that I see. So yeah, it's all working. Okay, so all of that epoxy is cured. Let's go ahead and paint a little bit of conformal coating on there as well. This mostly is just to ensure even if anything was to come loose, it's not going to chafe and short out. So yeah, it's mostly just to protect kind of all of the circuits in case of failure here. Definitely not a super important step, but I have conformal coating. It's cheap to go ahead and add, so we'll do that. This doesn't require the UV light or anything. It just cures on its own in the air. So yeah, that'll's gonna add some protection to all of those just in case a wire does break free. It just can't make contact and short to anything. And yeah, that's really it for this. So now we can just snap the back on. Oh, we are still missing a bulb, so let's replace that missing bulb. It was missing when it got here, and I'm really just working on the screen, but I have some. I'm gonna turn it on backwards so I can see if any of the bulbs are out. So it looks like we got 2. No, that one. Okay. Yep, they all work. Somebody hit that one with a soldering iron, but that was like that when I got here. Yep, okay. Yeah, that's all the lights. They're all working now. And just turn it around for one last check and make sure it works. Yep, screen's still working. And you know how this crack happens, right? It's people notice that they can just tap on it to get it to work, so they'll kind of hit the instrument cluster in the truck, or start hitting the plastic bezel around it and just kind of beating it against it, and it'll get the screen to come on because it's just those resistors that have the cracked solder joint on there. So yeah, it's pretty common to see these cracks on ones with a dead screen on it. And it's from the previous owner or the current owner, you know, hitting the instrument cluster to get the light to come on. So yeah, not an uncommon thing to see. This was just a screen repair is what they sent this in for. So I was just repairing that screen. So, you know, lens replacements not included in that. I could sell him a lens if he wanted one. But yeah, these wires were, you know, not the fix that they needed. It was really the stuff that we showed on the screen. That all of the backlight is working. Let's turn off the light so we can see that. And there we go. So it is a repaired instrument cluster. And by the way, this one is sticking that way because that is what they do when they don't have a oil pressure sensor hooked up. So yeah, it's a normal working instrument cluster at this point. Okay, so yeah, hopefully you guys liked the repair. Yes, still is a cracked lens. They sent it in just to get that screen fixed. That's all they wanted. So yeah, we're done with this instrument cluster. We got it working. We got the screen working, and the screen's actually nice and bright. They're generally not that bright on these. Yeah, it's pretty rare to get one to really come back to life like that. So it's nice to see that screen kind of all the way back to life there. Yeah, so we got it working. It's a shame that that somebody got in there and really had messed it up that bad before we got our hands on it. Definitely, this one could have been a candidate for a board replacement, but you know, it was a candidate for board replacement not because it wasn't fixable, just because it's more economical to just, you know, throw another board in there than spend an hour, you know, running jumpers. So, you know, I fixed it for the video. I normally would have just replaced the board. Again, not because of like failures, but just because of the fact that it'd have been cheaper time-wise, labor-wise, to have just swapped the board and programmed the mileage. But yeah, I thought it'd make an interesting video, so fixed the actual board instead. And yeah, my next video coming up that I'm like really trying to get prepped for is a box that converts from these 99 to O2s to the O3 to O4 instrument cluster is really the one I'm going for on there, but also kind of the O3 to O7 instrument cluster. So that way you can put one of those in one of these trucks and have that working. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.